and welcome. You're watching ET Now. I'm Anisha Jain. Well, the guest on the show today is a special one indeed, but don't be fooled by his unassuming self, because beneath the reticent shell, there is a very savvy businessman who understands the importance of having a great team. And of course, he's the one who has taken the company through the perception of a hostile takeover, the COVID downturn, and of course then the mega merger, which has resulted in the making of the fifth largest IT company in the country, LTIMindtree, which now forms part of the Nifty 50 as well. I'm talking about Debashis Chatterjee, the CEO and MD of LTIMindtree. Hi Debashis, thank you so much for having us here.
Yeah, thank you for visiting my campus and thank you for having me on your channel.
Thank you so much for that. You know, there's so much to talk about, right from generative AI to what's happening in the entire ecosystem of the macro dynamics. But let me start with generative AI, because that's the key buzzword right now, right? Tell me first up, how are the conversations shaping up with the clients? Because right now a lot of us are struggling to understand whether, you know, how the application is going to pan out, how the overall opportunity will unravel.
So as far as generative AI is concerned, it's still the very early days. And clients are still trying to figure out in terms of how it will really shape up. But it holds immense potential. So just to give you an example, when we talk about some of these new things, it is either going to help clients in terms of doing different ways or redefining their business models, doing much more innovation, or it could be something which is more productivity gains for them. But at this point of time, clients are still figuring out, developing use cases. So what we have done, we have launched this platform called Canvas AI, which is a next generation generative AI platform, where we invite our clients to build some use cases and co-create some use cases with our help. And that experiment is working out very well. So it could be in the areas of code generation, improving the productivity. It could be the areas of content generation. So some of these things we are working on, and but it's still early, so it's difficult to quantify in terms of how it will play out. But I can only say that from the initial signs, it holds a huge potential.
But let's talk about the bread and butter, the core business. BFSI, for example, which forms almost what, 35-40% of your business? Yep. The last time we spoke, you told me about there are some freezes happening. The client ramp-ups haven't been that strong. Are things changing, or is it still a bit slow?
Well, I think in terms of the ramp-ups, there were kind of very specific scenarios with specific clients, and those are easing off slowly. But overall, we are very optimistic about BFSI. This is one vertical, one industry where we are very strong, we are very focused, and overall, if you talk about innovation, this is one industry where the innovation happens right up front. So we are very hopeful and we continue to be very optimistic about BFSI.
So no cuts in spends or no like a massive budget cut or anything that you're witnessing?
We have not come across any budget cuts. We have not come across any major cancellations. The only thing which we have come across are slowdowns. And as I said, we kind of live in a very paradoxical times. There are deals which we have won, but we are not able to ramp up the way we wanted. So those are the things which we hopefully they will ease out over a period of time. But otherwise, I don't think there is anything to be concerned about.
So DC, that was about the BFSI vertical specifically, but then there was some worry about high tech, retail as well, that was showing signs of slowness. Does that continue?
Well, I think if you look at the industries in which we operate, most of the industries are doing okay. There could be cyclical things from time to time, but BFSI and high tech particularly are those industries where we are betting quite strongly. Even if you look at manufacturing and even if you look at consumer goods, it's a lot of focus right now. So overall, I don't think there is any concern in terms of specific industry. There could be some slowdowns from time to time, but overall we are in a good place. So
structurally, there is no slowdown. There could be transient issues, but sure, go on.
No, it is a transient. I mean, I would say it's a transient thing which we are seeing, but I can only say that it's a very interesting time where every client is behaving in a different way, and even within the same industry, two clients are not behaving the same way. But we are dealing with that.
Well, I'm sure LTIMindtree knows how to deal with that,
Yeah.
because you've been doing that for many, many years. But just, coming back to the point, apart from BFSI, North America is also a very important vertical for you, right? Given the fact almost 70% of the business comes from there. And there at the start of the year, we had seen this sudden drop in terms of business. People were not spending too much. But has it changed now? Because all that, worry about a hard landing has changed to soft landing, to probably no recession. Are things incrementally getting better?
Well, I think North America continues to be a strong market for us. I think what we have to understand is the kind of deals that we are working on have changed. If I look at a year back or even 18 months back, most of the deals that we are working on were transformation. And and through the pandemic, the transformation kind of accelerated. But in the last 1 year, we have seen that most of the deals are kind of cost takeout or efficiency led. So that's the only change that we have seen. If I look at my pipeline right now, most of my deals are led by efficiency. But there is also an interesting phenomenon that's happening. Many of the clients who have been doing a lot of transformation, they don't want to completely stop the transformation. They want to slow it down, but at the same time, they are looking at cost efficiency or cost takeout or efficiency deals, which will kind of help in terms of funding the in-flight transformation. So that's the interesting phenomena that we are seeing right now, and there are quite a few deals that we have already won in that area, where we are not only helping the client in terms of the efficiency, but also helping in terms of funding the in-flight transformation through the efficiency measures. And that's something which is happening in North America as well.
Yeah, no, that's the interesting bit that was visible in your earnings as well, because while everybody was talking about the revenue slowdown a bit, the deal win momentum was very strong, right, even in the quarter gone by. But there was also this fact that the decision making was also slowing down a bit. What's your take in terms of the deal pipeline that is there right now? Would you still say it's very robust, and the conversions as well in terms of deal wins will continue to be high?
Well, if you look at overall deal pipeline, I would still say it's very robust up to our satisfaction. But we have to also understand the opportunity that we have. The opportunity that we have is post the merger, LTIMindtree becoming one single entity. And again, if you look at the overall vision that the group has, Mr. Nayak has, SN Subramaniam has, we have been always talking about how do you mine the clients, how do you build strategic logos, and that can only happen through cross-selling and upselling. And that's what we have been focused on, and that's working out very well. So when you talk about deals, you have to look at both the aspects. And I think, the overall, we may not be seeing a lot of large deals being shaped up, but we can shape some of the large deals as we go along with our existing clients.
That's interesting, but given the fact that you're now looking at larger kind of deals, and LTIMindtree, as you said, together is now seeing a lot more, it has become eligible for a lot bigger deals, but that's opened up a lot of competition as well. And now you're not just competing with, let's say, just the top 5 in India, but globally as well, Cognizant, Accenture and the likes, and everybody else as well. Does that mean that pricing is becoming a bit of a problem for the industry? Competition is high, limited amount of deals?
Well, first of all, even when we were erstwhile Mindtree and erstwhile LTI,
you were still competing with the biggies.
We were still competing with so there's no change in that. It is just that we are much more formidable as we are at this point of time in terms of size and scale and capabilities that we have brought together. But I don't think there is anything to, at this point of time, there is anything to worry about pricing per se. It's fairly stable.
So then, fair to say that 17 to 18% margin band by the end of the year?
Well, we have said the 17 to 18% exit rate. That's what we are aspiring for. By end of this, by Q4, and we have a plan. We have a very specific program within the organization to improve the margin, and that's why we have made a commitment that 200 basis points over the next 4 to 5 years. We are pretty much on track.
Okay, so you talked about 17 to 18% margin. You're on track to that, but there was also this aspiration of $10 billion, right? Right now, what you're sub $5 billion. When do you see that happening? 2030?
Well, I think it will be before that, but the aspiration holds still, the aspiration is very much there. And again, it's the aspiration of the group, our group chairman and Mr. A.M. Nayak, our group CEO, Mr. SN Subramaniam. I think they have very clearly articulated this plan. And
they've given you this target that DC, you have to achieve this target,
yeah,
right?
I think, it is not me, it's me and my team who have to get it done. And I think it's achievable. And if you look at the overall aspiration they have been very supportive in terms of what we have done so far and what we want to do. And I think this 10 billion mark has to be a combination of organic as well as inorganic. And I'm very confident that given the credibility that we have in the marketplace and the credentials that we have, I'm sure we can do it over a period of time.
So you've baited me with two questions. First up, you're saying earlier than 2030. So what, 2028, 2025?
It's earlier than 2030.
That's all I'm getting from you, right?
Well, it depends on, as you can understand, the industry has gone through a very tough year. So you don't have those controls. But you need to still have an aspiration, you need to set a goal. And that aspiration is pretty much there. In fact, right now as we speak, we are working on a strategy in terms of how to get there. Now, if you have a strategy, then you need to execute to that strategy as well. And now there could be ups and downs, there could be slowdowns, but overall we will be on target in terms of, we will definitely have an aspiration to get there.
That's good to hear because, we started off this year hoping that there'll be a double-digit growth this year. That looks challenging right now, but at least in FY25, do you see that coming back, or do you think that entire era of seeing that double-digit growth is not going to happen and the industry has become mature at, let's say, 8 to 10% levels?
Well, it's difficult to call out like that, but there are certain things that we aspire to. We want to remain agile and nimble. We want to definitely have a profitable growth story, and we want to have a growth which is in the industry leading quadrant. So keeping all those things in mind, if the opportunities open up, there is no reason why we cannot again go back to the double-digit growth, but we definitely want to be in the industry leading quadrant.
And you said that the growth will be both organic as well as inorganic. We recently haven't heard much on the inorganic side, especially because we were going through this mega merger.
Yeah.
What next? Anything in the pipeline?
Well, I can only say that the integration was most critical for us.
True.
And if you look at, we announced the merger 14th of November last year, and in a record 6 months, 7 months time, we have kind of completed the entire integration, bulk of the integration. Which was very important because we had to take the go-to-market strategy. There has to be single, LTIM1 as we call it, single set of solutions, single set of capabilities which we should take it to the go-to-market as a part of GTM strategy. Now those things have all happened. I can only say that there is a team which is working in the background all the time, looking at opportunities. And if there is a right opportunity in terms of, which will help us in terms of getting into or fulfilling some of the white spaces in terms of capabilities or geographies, we'll definitely make it happen.
But anything specific you have in mind? North America, Europe, India?
No, we are
any
open.
Specific vertical?
We are pretty much open. Just to give you an example, we are late starters in some of the industries like a healthcare, life sciences. So if there's an opportunity over there, why not? But it is not restricted to only those two industries.
Interesting. I'll scratch that point further with you, but it's time now to slip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere.
सशक्त नारी ही है सशक्त प्रदेश का आधार। विकास लगातार, मोदी जी शिवराज सरकार। मुख्यमंत्री लाडली लक्ष्मी योजना में मध्य प्रदेश में अब करीब 46 लाख लाडली लक्ष्मियां हो गई हैं। योजना के तहत ऐसी 13,30,000 से ज्यादा बेटियों को 366.21 करोड़ रुपए छात्रवृत्ति मिली है। इन्हें छठी कक्षा में प्रवेश पर 2,000, 9वीं में दाखिले पर 4,000, 11वीं और 12वीं कक्षा में प्रवेश लेने पर 6,000 दिए जाते हैं।
जब मैं मुख्यमंत्री बना 2005 के अंत में, तो सबसे पहली योजना अगर मैंने कोई बनाई थी तो उस योजना का नाम था लाडली लक्ष्मी योजना।
स्नातक या व्यावसायिक कोर्स के लिए कुल 25,000 रुपए 2 बराबर किस्तों में दिए जा रहे हैं। 21 साल के होने पर विवाह के लिए 1 लाख रुपए मिलते हैं।
टाइम्स नाउ नवभारत आपके लिए लेकर आया है देखेगा नवभारत जीतेगा भारत कॉन्टेस्ट, जहां आप जीत सकते हैं सोने के सिक्के, एलईडी टीवी, माइक्रोवेव ओवन और साथ ही लाखों के लाजवाब इनाम हर रोज। तो देखते रहिए टाइम्स नाउ नवभारत, देखेगा नवभारत जीतेगा भारत कॉन्टेस्ट। देखो, खेलो, जीतो।
मेरा मन
उस दिन सडनली
इसलिए सडनली एंगेज पॉकेट परफ्यूम्स की फ्रेशनेस।
एंगेज
सडनली
दुनिया में कुछ लोग कहते हैं और कुछ लोग करते हैं। जब कहा गया देश में सोलर पावर सफल नहीं हो सकता, तो हमने सुना नहीं, उसे सफल कर दिखाया। बोला कोने कोने तक बिजली पहुंचाना किसी के बस की बात नहीं, हमने पहुंचा दी। और जब कहा गया देश के एयरपोर्ट्स इंटरनेशनल स्टैंडर्ड्स के नहीं हो सकते, तब भी हमने सुना नहीं, कर दिए। मुश्किलों की नहीं सुनते, अदानी हम करके दिखाते हैं।
LIC presents Dhanvriddhi, an attractive single premium policy which gives guaranteed maturity with high guaranteed additions. Hurry, contact your LIC agent today.
We're talking about how the company will reach that vision of $10 billion, and I'm sure for that you also need the fuel, right? And the fuel is going to be the talent, which has been a bit of a problem area for the industry over the last couple of years. But do you think that entire, grand resignation and great resignation wave is over and attrition has slowed down?
Attrition has definitely slowed down quite significantly. But I have always believed that if you look at the next few years, the winner will be those who will get the talent strategy right. And we are spending a lot of time in terms of getting our talent strategy right. And you talked about Gen AI, for example. So we have programs launched within the organization where we are going to train everybody on Gen AI.
Everybody means the entire talent?
Entire population over time you need to, because there are certain things which you have to do across the board. Unless you do that, you don't get the benefits. We have already started training in batches. So we have also got a center of excellence formed. So all these things are part of your upskilling your workforce. Now that is something which is going to be very critical as we go along. So attrition we are not too worried about at this point of time, but the biggest focus is how do you retrain your workforce in the skills that are required for the future.
Yeah, no, sure. But that's one of the things which has been a problem area in terms of the industry as a whole. And the reason is also said that the companies don't invest enough. Even at the starting, salary package, it continues to be very low at 3.5, 4.5 lakh levels. And that stayed like that for the last 10, 20 years for the industry. And that's why the attrition is very high at lower level. Do you think there's something that the industry needs to change as a whole?
Well, I can tell you what we have been doing. We have rolled out a very clear role-based organization structure, which means that right from the day one, when you join LTIMindtree, you have a career map which is available for you. How can you rise in your career? And of course, you have to start at a certain point, that's an entry level. But if you have the right skill set, right capabilities, then you can also rise faster. So that's something which we feel as being a role-based organization can help in terms of helping people to rise, helping people to flourish if they're the right people, if they have the right capabilities, and if they can unlearn and relearn new things, if I can say so. So that's something which we have done, and I think that is that's the right way to proceed.
Fair, and this relearn, unlearn and learn fresh things is something that you'd have to do also on account of this merger, right? I'm sure it was very tricky, while it of course was the vision of Mr. A.M. Nayak and SNS as well. How did you ensure that culturally the two organizations come in together? Because there was also this perception of a hostile takeover, etc.
Well, I think that's a great question, and the reason I'm smiling is I think there is a lot of things which are not understood properly. So first of all, what we need to understand is if you look at the erstwhile Mindtree culture,
yes,
and if you look at the erstwhile LTI culture or the work ethos, whichever way we call it, it's not very different. And if you look at the erstwhile LTI work ethos, that has been kind of borrowed from the parent, which is the group. So if you look at L&T as a group and LTIMindtree as an organization, if you look at the work ethos, they're fairly similar. And it's like, it's a purposeful organization focused on learning, caring organization and delivering results. That's all it is all about. And that's what L&T as a group is all about. That's what LTIMindtree is all about. So I don't think culturally integrating these two workforces was so difficult for me.
No, so given the fact that ethos are same within the group, is there a possibility that L&T Tech will get merged as well, or that's completely ruled out?
Well, that's not a question that you should be asking me. That should be asked to the group chairman, but I am not aware of anything that I have heard.
But you're not ruling it out as well, right?
Well, as I said, it's not something that I can comment on.
Sure. Sure, I won't push you there because I know this is something which has been much talked about. But for now, what we hear from the group as well, right now at least, it doesn't seem to be happening, at least in the imminent future. But talking about India as a whole, and last couple of decades have actually belonged to the services sector, right? From 1919 onwards, we have seen the entire advent of services as a big export hub. For the next leg, what's been talked about is a lot of manufacturing theme, and it's been said that services perhaps has plateaued a bit. Would you agree with that?
Not at all.
Lot of potential there in Indian services to offer?
I mean, look at what India has done in terms of services. You have the GCCs, you have the hardware companies, you've got the services companies like ourselves. You have a lot of companies setting up their R&D in India. So if you look at what India has done in terms of services supporting the global clients, I think that's amazing, and you cannot change that because the scale is huge, and you cannot even think of if a client in the US is thinking of reimagining their business models and thinking of doing things differently, they have to rely on India. So I don't think that's going to go away. And the other thing is that if you look at India per se, even within India there's a lot of innovation going on. Look at Chandrayaan-3.
Oh my God.
It's
success
an amazing story and amazing success, and we should all feel very proud about it. If you look at digital innovation, you look at Aadhaar, you look at the payment systems that we are and you look at the COVID, the vaccination, the way we have done it, the COVID app, the way we have tracked it. I think these are all great things that happen in India. So I think technology can come and go, and the way India has embarked itself in the world map in terms of services, I don't think that's going to change in the near future or even the long term.
That's good to hear, very good to hear actually. But since you brought up the point of R&D and India and innovation, one of the concerns that the naysayers have been pointing out again and again is the fact that India is a place which is good at executing but not probably at innovating. Take for instance cloud or the entire digital wave or even generative AI for instance, it all originated in the West. While we are great at executing and taking it forward, do you think it's time now that the companies, especially the private sector, need to invest a lot more in innovating and creating new technologies as well?
Well, I think it's not that it's not happening. It's happening in pockets. Probably it's not happening to the scale that you just now mentioned in the US because the budgets are much more over there in terms of R&D. But having said that, India is fast follower. Today, when you have a problem defined and somebody has to solve the problem, develop the skills, I don't think anybody can do it better than India.
That's
so
true.
It's good to be a fast follower. And as I gave you the example of Aadhaar, for example, or the payments that we have done, and all these things are also innovation in my view. These are all reaching the masses. And I don't think any other country has done to this extent. I mean, the innovation that India has done in payments is probably far ahead than many of the other Western countries. It's just that we don't talk about it. So it's happening in pockets. Probably it can happen more, but I won't say that it's not happening at all.
No, fair enough. I think UPI is a classic example, and the way other countries are coming to us and asking about that technology is a vote of confidence.
Just to let you know that erstwhile LTIMindtree, or rather LTIMindtree, play a big role in terms of other rollout.
Okay, so that's a feather in the cap, definitely, that can be talked about. But you know what? Talk to me about yourself. Are you the kind of leaders who looks at building up the team, or you are the one who is, wants to get your hand dirty, is all the time want to get into the work himself? Do you find it difficult to delegate?
Well, I think, I have a very simple philosophy. First philosophy is that I need to surround myself with the right people, right leaders. And once I find the right leaders, the second philosophy is that I need to define the right roles for them. And the third philosophy is, once the first two are done, I need to find a way and empower them to help them succeed in their roles. And I don't know whether that can be related to micromanagement or delegation. I think it's neither of those. But I also believe that if I have to get into something where something is going wrong, I don't hesitate to get in. But if I follow these three principles, then I think it's more about coaching and mentoring rather than trying to do firefighting.
So you talked about the cultural integration, and that wasn't a big issue as per you. But what role can LTIMindtree play in the entire L&T group? Because of course there are a lot of verticals, right from defense to green hydrogen, which is a focus area. For services in LTIMindtree, what role do you see it playing in the group?
See, when I joined this group, it was very clearly articulated to me by Mr. Nayak and Mr. Subramaniam that the overall vision of the group is to become asset-light and focus on services. And it was probably known at that time itself when I joined erstwhile Mindtree that at some point of time LTI and Mindtree will come together, but we did not know the timeline. So overall, the aspiration is very clear. we want to create a large services organization, and over a period of time, and we need to be ensuring that it is it's a profitable growth. So our journey that we have embarked on in terms of putting a plan to become a $10 billion organization and and have a story of profitable growth, I think that aligns to the overall aspiration of the group.
Okay, so that's good to hear. And the overall aspiration of the group is also towards sustainability, towards maintaining that the right diversity ratio, etc. has been maintained. What is LTIMindtree doing at its level to ensure that?
Well, sustainability is in our DNA. It's not just a goal. So if you look at our sustainability targets, they have been published. Like for example, water positive by 2030, net zero by 2040. And even on the diversity aspect as well, we have got specific programs that we run. Like for example, we have a program on women trailblazers, the people who, the women leaders whom we can groom and who can take up right at the senior most level. So we have specific programs that we run. And apart from that also, we are, it's not restricted to just gender diversity, but all other aspects of diversity are also very seriously taken within LTIMindtree.
That's good to hear. But tell me about that, DC. Since the time you've been included into Nifty, have things changed for you at all? And are you a person who looks at stock prices very, very closely?
I don't think it's required to look at the stock prices. I think what is important is stay focused on the clients, stay focused on what clients are looking for, stay focused on what technologies we need to embrace to support our clients. And of course, our people are our assets. We need to ensure that the workforce is upskilled in the right way. So if we focus on our clients, if we take care of our people, then I think the results will automatically follow. And that will decide what to, how to drive the stock prices. So I don't think I need to worry about anything else.
Okay, so, let me wrap up the conversation by asking you exactly this. What are those worry points right now? What is something that is a key monitorable for you on an everyday basis that you either think about or you track actively?
Well, I think the biggest opportunity is also the biggest challenge. The biggest opportunity that we have is how do we upskill our talent? How do we ensure that we can gear up to the challenges that technology throws at us? But that's also one of the biggest challenges, because we need to ensure that we can train the right people at the right pace and support our clients. So talent is the biggest biggest issue and the biggest focus area for us in this industry, and especially for myself.
And I'm sure you will rise up to that challenge as LTIMindtree has always done. Thank you so much, DC, for joining us today. Appreciate you being on ET Now.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on your channel.
Thank you so much for being with us.